Fatu K. Jawara, that all honorable. Honorable Maimuna Sise, Honorable Sawaibu Ture, Honorable Keba T. Sane, Honorable Abdullahi Sise, Honorable Omar Jobe, Honorable Omar Jamne, Honorable Sane Jawara, Honorable Samba Jalo, and Honorable Aleu Balde. Engagements. The last delegation to recognize honorable members is a delegation attending the 2024 World Scout Parliamentary Union Executive Committee meeting in Nairobi. Honorable members, the World Scout Parliamentary Union, seated in the Speaker's row, they are Honorable Gyu Bak An, President, World Scout Parliamentary Union, and member of the National Assembly of Korea, leader of the delegation. Honorable Dael Chul Pak, member of World Scout Parliamentary Union and member of the National Assembly of Korea. Honorable Jan Zietzi, that one is difficult. Zizak, member of the Executive Committee and member of the National Assembly of Poland. The delegation, accompanied by 3 staff of the Parliamentary Union, is attending the 2024 Global Executive Committee meeting of the World Scout Parliamentary Union to be held at the National Assembly. Fruitful engagement.
Mr. Speaker, is a caucus that you are the patron of.
The House Business Committee has met this afternoon, times, and at the end of this, the majority leader has been directed by the Speaker to bring a procedural motion to effect those changes. Because of the backlog of work, and we are cascading towards the end of this session, we have agreed in House Business Committee that you'll sit on Monday afternoon and evening. You'll sit twice on Monday, depending on the availability of members and business to transact, we may extend up to the end of the day. Tuesday morning, Thursday, and Friday, before we break to head to Mombasa for Kenya and from the region. I did direct, and I want to repeat, order, Honorable Kajwang, order. Honorable members, as much facilitate as many of you as possible to come to Mombasa and participate. Those dissenting say nay. Nay. The ayes have it. Order. Next order. Yes, Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, nachukua fursa hii kuwakaribisha wabunge wote wa bunge hili la 13 katika kaunti ya Mombasa. Mje mjienjoy, mtuletee biashara katika kaunti yetu Mheshimiwa Spika, na nachukua fursa hii kukushukuru sana.
Honorable Shakil with the China group, I also just wish to welcome all the delegates. Yes.
Was my classmate at the law school. Yes, not this Bensouda. This Bensouda was not in any law school.
Wakaribisha kule Mombasa, na mimi kama mwenyekiti wa mambo ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, wabunge na wajue kule tuna wabunge kutoka bunge 8. tukiwa wabunge kutoka bunge 8, tukiwa pamoja na bunge kiti. Hata kama nitasema mimi ni mwenyekiti kwa akawa anachukua yana kwa kudeepen na widen the integration.
You are wrong. It is called deepen, widen, and tighten. The integration of East Africa. Next order. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in the spirit of widening, deepening, and tightening, I would like to welcome the visitors and also welcome the members, not only to Mombasa, but also to Kilifi, which is neighboring. I think we have very good accommodation and very good people in Kilifi and in Mtwapa. You know, Mtwapa is in Kilifi. You know, they don't know that, Honorable Speaker. Yeah, very good people in Mtwapa. Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, 24. 1, financial year 2024-2025 of the Constitution from the National Treasury. 2, annual report of the state of the judiciary and the administration of justice for the financial year 2023 and 2024 from the judiciary. 3, the quarterly review 2024-2025. June 2023, and the certificates therein in respect of Gachie High School, Thika High School, St. Anne's Secondary School, Gatei Mixed Secondary School, Gakoi Mixed Secondary School, and Giakanja High School, Boys High School. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Rani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 19th November 2024, the report of the Select Committee on Member Services and Facilities on an inspection visit to constituency and county offices in Kilifi, Kwale, Mombasa, Laikipia.
Chair, Select Committee on Regional Integration, Wanjiku.
Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba takriban unipe dakika 2 nifanye mazungumzo na clerk.
Wanjiku, you have told me that you wanted to move your motion in Kiswahili, to give notice in Kiswahili.
Ndiyo, Mheshimiwa Spika.
It's written in English. I'll permit you to give notice in English, but direct on the Hansard that when you move the motion when it comes, you can do so in Kiswahili, so that you save our time.
Asante, Mheshimiwa Speaker, and I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 19th November 2024. This is the report of the Committee on Regional Integration on the inspection visit to the semi-autonomous institutions of the East Africa.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, committee.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion. That this House adopts the report of the Select Committee on Member Services and Facilities on the inspection visit to constituency and county offices in Kilifi, Kwale, Mombasa, Laikipia, Nyandarua, and Machakos County. Laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 19th November 2024. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give a notice of motion on inspection visit to the semi-autonomous institution of East African Community and Central Corridor in Tanzania. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give a notice of the following motion that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Regional Integration on the inspection visit to the semi-autonomous institution of East African Community and the Central Corridor in the Republic of Tanzania, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 19th November 2024. I beg.
Thank you, Chairperson. Next. Clerk, skip order number 7. Call out order 8, 9, and 10. We put the questions before we go to 7.
Order number 8, procedural motion,
Yes.
resolution to sit on other days.
What you do, call 9. Owen, hold for your boss is behind here, I think. Call 9, 10, and 11 first.
The Committee of the Whole House on Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024. Question to be put and third reading.
Order, honorable members. Yusuf, take your seat. Haika, take your seat on the nearest seat. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 9, which is that the report of the Committee of the Whole House on the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024, time. As members of that opinion say aye. I now put the question on the same issue that I propose. Okay. Mover, is that okay? No. Just say, I beg to move that the Technopolis Bill
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024, be now read a third time, because she was part of the process and part.
Give Honorable Millie the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second.
Thank you. I propose the question, which is that the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024, be now read a third time. I put the question, and I do confirm that we have quorum in the House. I therefore put the question, which is that the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2024, be now read a third time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to establish the Technopolis Development Authority to provide a framework for development of technopolises and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024, second reading, question to be put.
Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 10, which is that the Cooperatives Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Thank you. We go back to order number
A bill.
8. Sorry. Procedural motion.
Order number 8, procedural motion, resolution to sit on other days.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders 30B and C on hours of meeting, this House resolved to hold sittings on the following days for purposes of debate on the President's address and consideration of priority business ahead of the long recess. One, on Monday, 25th November 2024, commencing at 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting, and 6:45 p.m. for the commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 3, on Thursday, 28th November 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 4, on Friday, 29th November 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 5, on Monday, 2nd December 2024, commencing at 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting. 6, on Tuesday, 3rd December 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. And 7, on Thursday, 5th December 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. Honorable Speaker, I don't think I need to explain the basis of that procedural motion, since you had sitting days to consider. We do hope, and as invited by Honorable Zamzam, that all of us, being the hosts of the Yala Games, on the 6th, we shall join the Speaker on the SGR at 6 a.m. Yes. The 6 a.m. SGR train to Mombasa, the Speaker will be on that train, and we expect that we shall all be able to join the Speaker to take on the 6th. So we want to make sure that first, we are able to conclude all the business that we have before us. As members are aware, we are going for the long recess and the Christmas break, and we want, by all means possible, to avoid to call members for a special sitting during that long recess, because this is the only time our very hard-working staff from the clerk's office and the entire secretariat of the National Assembly are able to take their break. Throughout the year, our staff are not able to take any other break except in December, and therefore we want to indulge them and not be able to call them back again for a special sitting, so that we be able to conclude all the business. We also don't interrupt the Yala Games. We want and expect, Honorable Speaker, as you indicated to us in the House Business Committee, that being the hosts, the 349 members of the National Assembly are expected to be in Mombasa. And as Honorable Zamzam has promised, she is ready with mahamri, na korosho, na madafu, etc. Honorable Speaker, I have not said what I hear the Honorable KJ saying from behind me. Mambo ya Fatuma mimi siyaelewi. With that, I beg to move, and I want to request the Leader of Minority, the Honorable Junet Mohammed, who is also a member of the House Business Committee, to second this procedural motion in agreement.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to second the procedural motion. But having seconded Mr. Speaker, I want to urge members to take it very serious, the address of the State of the Nation by the President. Mr. Speaker,
what is out of order, Millie? Yes,
Millie. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my concern is not Honorable Junet, my minority leader, but Honorable Toto is kneeling. I know that the member she's speaking to is a very honorable and much. Yeah, Honorable Sigay. I know he's an adult, but surely, Mr. Speaker. In this house, we are presumed to be all equal. So as much as it shows respect.
If you go and read the Hansard, the last time the word kneeling was used in this house, a vice president lost his job. Josephat Njuguna Karanja. Do you want my comrade, Ambassador Sigay, to lose his job? Oh. Go on, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I am told the Honorable...
Yes, Donya.
Mr. Speaker, you know this statement might be taken serious. When we go back home, our men demand for kneeling. You will be ruining our marriages, Mr. Speaker. It is men who should kneel before women, not women kneeling. In this 21st century, Mr. Speaker, we should not be told of what to do.
Order, Donya. Order, honorable members. Order. Honorable members. Jaka Wamboka, member for Bumula, can tell you that from the community where we come from, women kneeling for their men is an... I am not talking of your community. Go on, Jeanette. Jeanette, go on. Order.
Mr. Speaker.
Order, Donya. Donya,
Sit down.
You are getting disorderly. Take your seat.
Mr. Speaker.
I never talked of any other community. I talked of Wamboka's community.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, if I may move. Mr. Speaker, we are just giving tactics of how to spice marriages, Mr. Speaker. We are not doing anything bad. How marriages can be better, and there are places where even men kneel. And they know, men know, they can't say it in the camera, Mr. Speaker. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that we have to take, members must take the address of the nation by the President very serious, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, members should understand, should know any other event, Mr. Speaker. The President comes to Parliament and addresses the nation on issues that have been stipulated in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Issues of national security, international obligations, the economy, and all kinds of things. And you will see at the end of his address, Mr. Speaker, he will hand over documents, set of documents to the Speaker. That tells you how important the address is, Mr. Speaker. And that is the reason why Parliament, as a National Assembly, has allocated 4 sittings to discuss and to talk about the address of the President, Mr. Speaker of the nation. So, Mr. Speaker, it is a very serious constitutional obligation. It's not just like any other thing that the President comes here to talk to us. And it is one of the ways constitutionally that this House holds the President accountable. Because every year he comes here to tell us what he has achieved the last 1 year on those 4 areas, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, it is my wish to tell the members that let us take that address very serious. Let us attend in all our numbers so that we can listen to the President. And after that, use the 4 sittings that follow the address to dissect and talk and tell Kenyans what your thoughts are on the issues that the President has addressed the House on. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I second, Mr. Speaker.
I want to propose a question. Honorable Junet, Irene Mayaka was very excited when you are talking about women kneeling before men. Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 30B and C, hours of meeting, this House resolves to hold sittings on the following days for purposes of debate for the afternoon sitting and 6:45 p.m. for the evening sitting. 2, on Tuesday, 26 November 2024, commencing at 9 a.m. for the morning sitting. On Thursday, 28 November 2024, commencing at 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. On Friday, 29 November 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. On Monday, 2nd December 2024, commencing at 2:30 p.m. for the morning sitting. For 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting, On Tuesday, 3rd December 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting, and on Thursday, 5th December 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. I'll now put the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 30B and C, hours of meeting, this House resolves to hold sittings on the following days for purposes of debate on the President's address and consideration of priority business ahead of the long recess. 1. On Monday, 25th November 2024, commencing at 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting and 6:45 p.m. for the evening sitting. 2. Tuesday, 26th November 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 3. Thursday, 28th November 2024, commencing Friday, 29th November 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. 5. Monday, 2nd December 2024, commencing 2:30 p.m. for the afternoon sitting. And 6. Tuesday, 3rd December 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. And finally, on Thursday, 5th December 2024, commencing 9:30 a.m. for the morning sitting. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Member for Kisumu Central, Joshua Oron.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the delay in the operationalization of administrative units in Kisumu Central constituency. Honorable Speaker, on 21st July 2017, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration gazetted administrative units in 1,200 locations and 2,400 sub-locations. Among those gazetted were locations Kanyakwar and Nyalenda, and 4 sub-locations Obunga, Kanyakwar, Dunga, and Lower Milimani within Kisumu Central constituency. These areas designated as administrative units were intended to bring essential government services closer to the residents, enhance security, and facilitate efficient delivery of public services. However, nearly 8 years later, the units are yet to be operationalized, resulting in the residents traveling long distances to acquire essential government services. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Department Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1, a status report on the operationalization of the administrative units in Kanyakwar and Nyalenda locations, Obunga, Kanyakwar, Dunga, and Lower Milimani sublocations, as per the gazettement of 21st July 2017. And 2, the measures put in place by the ministry to ensure these administrative units become fully operational, enabling the local population to access essential national government services conveniently and efficiently. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The obvious one, that it has been always the issue of budget. And it is not just Kisumu.
Yes.
It is all over the country.
Bring the response on Thursday next week.
Well guided, sir.
Okay. Ali Wario Guyo, member for Garsen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to I raised to request for a statement from Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning regarding the status of projects and as established under Article 204 of the Constitution was introduced to address the historical marginalization of certain regions by providing 0.5% of the national health and electricity. These services are intended to bring the level of public service in marginalized areas like Garseni constituency and Tana River County to par with the rest of the country. Honorable Speaker, a committee was for funding. This committee is chaired by the County Commissioner and includes the chairman and managers of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, NGCDF. Despite the efforts of the committee in identifying the critical projects, the implementation of these projects has not been carried out accordingly. Concerns have been arisen over issues such as tendering, public participation, and the overall transparency of the Process Disposal Act was 2. Clarification on whether the mode of advertisement for these projects or tenders was conducted in a transparent manner that allowed for the fair participation of the local contractors. Number 3, the extent to which public participation was conducted in identification, prioritization and implementation of these projects in line with the Article 10 of the Constitution. Number 4, a detailed update on the current status of all projects under the Equalization Fund in Garseni constituency and Tana River County, including the expected timelines for the completion. Number 5, an account on the total funding allocated to these projects under the Equalization Fund, detailing how much has been utilized so far and what balance remains. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Wario. Chair, Finance and Planning. Who is the Vice Chair? Naomi, can you communicate to the Chair, Finance, if possible, to bring a response before Thursday next week?
Honorable Speaker, I will, and I'm sure they will be able to bring by Friday, as you said.
Daniel Manduku, Nyaribari Masaba. Order members,
Honorable Speaker.
order members who are standing in the walkway. Sabina Chege, you've just walked in and you are causing disorder. Order. Take your seat. Okay, go ahead, Manduku.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44, 2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Roads and Infrastructure regarding the stalled Kenyanya, Sosera, Ekona, Ramasha, Suguta Junction Road in Nyariva Masaba constituency. Honorable Speaker, the construction of the said road was launched in the year 2018 and commenced shortly thereafter. Unfortunately, the project stalled in 2019 after the construction of only 2 kilometers of the total approved length of the said road. Additionally, the contractor had extracted maram from Sosera Primary School, leaving behind a large pit, which is now filled with stagnant water, and which has become a breeding ground for mosquitoes and is a safety risk to the people. and learners in the school. Result, the area has experienced a rise in malaria cases, and a tragic accident was experienced in the year 2020 when a child drowned in the hazardous pit. The incomplete road has also severely affected residents by disrupting access to essential services. Honorable Speaker, sir, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Roads and Transport on the following. 1, a report detailing the status of the Kenyanya, Sosera, Ekona, Ramasha, Sukuta Junction Road, the circumstances for stalling of works, and when the road will be completed. 2, measures being taken to address the safety concerns of the residents and students in Sosera Primary School regarding the hazardous pit. And 3, the relief measures that the government is putting in place to mitigate the health and safety risks posed by the stagnant water in Sosera Primary School. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairman, Transport. GK, is he here? Yes, Zaire. Are you able to bring a response?
Yes, Honorable Chair, I have the response.
On this issue?
Yes, I do.
Did you anticipate it?
Sorry?
He's just raised it now. How did you have? What you want to respond to has not come yet. So can you try and bring a response to Honorable Manduku before we break?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
We go to responses. Honorable Njeri Maina's statement. Gokoyo? Yes, member for Moyale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On 18th October, I asked for a statement from the Departmental Chair of Internal Security and Administration.
DOU.
2 weeks down the line, because you gave instruction that they come back with the report in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Gogoyo.
It's almost 1 month,
sorry,
and there's no response.
Tongoyo, when you respond to Njeri, can you start by telling Professor when you respond to him? Tongoyo.
It's true that the Member of Parliament for Moyale did ask for a statement. And of course, yeah, it's true, 2 weeks down the line. I just want to beg for a little bit of patience because the ministry is still working on it. It's work in progress. And I promise to next week consider, to have the statement in this on the floor. Kindly.
Thank you. Go on now and respond to Njeri.
Honorable Speaker, the response on the statement being asked by to address the extrajudicial killing and the use of excessive force by the police officers. Honorable Speaker, on 19th, 2024, at around 1:30 p.m., police officers were on a patrol found at Bar 1 Club in Kiandai Shopping Center operating beyond stipulated operating hours. The officers condoned off the bar with a view of arresting revelers and the bar owners for contravening stringent measures put in place by the government to control sales and consumption of alcohol. And some were jumping over the iron sheet perimeter fence and in the ensuring hour, and which commenced by recording statements from relevant witnesses and assembling relevant exhibits for prosecution purposes. Honorable Speaker, on the 10th, June, same year, this year, her firearm, that is a firearm of the suspected police officer, and a spent cartridge were forwarded to the ballistic station at DCI National Forensic Laboratory for forensic analysis. And when the analysis is completed, the inquiry file will be forwarded to the office of the DPP. Honorable Speaker, on the third question, the government has put in place an adequate stringent laws and regulations for the lawful use of force and firearm as a police officers via Service Standing Order Cap 47 and the National Police Service Act 2010. The officers are under stringent instruction to refrain from use of excess force against members of the public and may only use firearm in justifiable instances such as for protecting the life of another person who is in danger or self-defense. And the service is also oversighted by IPOA. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the government does not condone acts and contrary to the law and the Constitution. All acts which appear contrary to the law are investigated thoroughly and appropriate action taken against any officers found capable. Subjected to investigation to instances of murder where they are suspected to be involved. And in such circumstances, the law takes its course. Statement signed by then the CS Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki. So it's true as from the statement that it was an accidental shooting where the gun released ammunition, and unfortunately the victim got shot. And I want really to condole with the family and ensure that the investigation is underway.
Well, I thank the Honorable Chair for responding. I do take great exception that at paragraph 3, he says that a firearm discharged an ammunition. Firearms do not discharge themselves. They do not have any robotic capacity. Weapons on unarmed and innocent Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, I happened to visit and condole with the family of the late Derek Gashoki, who was a young student waiting to join university this year. Honorable Speaker, I note that the firearm of the police officer and a spent cartridge purportedly, while it was sent on the 10th of June for an analysis and a ballistic report so that further investigations can be concluded and the file presented in court, the same university lays dead and the grieving parents are waiting for justice. Investigate who shot a young student waiting to join university. Then it could take forever, Honorable Speaker. I request an update on the same within 30 days so that I can go to the family, the grieving family in Kirinyaga.
Speaker, acknowledge and admit that, of course, the shooting happened accidentally from the firearm of the police officer. And I want to just tell the honorable member, it does happen. That is an accidental shooting. A time when the pistols have been cocked, or whichever gun, and the safety pin is not being locked or engaged, the ammunition can discharge themselves. So it does happen. They are rare, but it does happen. So investigation is ongoing. Yes. And I've just mentioned the ballistic is ongoing, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, even though I've not trained in guns and shooting, but I also know the chair of internal security has no such a training and is taking it upon himself in this house and before cameras and Kenyans to explain how that happens and how it happened. Is it really in order? I think there should be a fair, more deliberate way, given that the life of a Kenyan young person was lost. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Indeed, there is what you call accidental discharge. It happens in any firearm, from a pistol to a machine gun, because the movement of that particular weapon, the trigger can easily pull the round forward and it discharges. So from experience, I can confirm what my chairman has said, that it happens.
Chair, I don't think any member of the chair is a ballistic reports expert, but I'm kindly requesting that after 30 days, I get a follow-up feedback from the chair whether the report is complete and has been forwarded to the DPP so that prosecution can start. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Tongoyo, did you say there's an inquest?
The issue of the gun that discharged the ammunition is truly belonged to the officer. And we said it was accidental. For majority of us who own the gun,
Jerry herself as a lawyer knows that when a citizen loses life in circumstances like what you have described, the law requires an inquest to be carried out where the police will place material before a court of law and a magistrate will decide whether there is anybody culpable for the loss of life or not. Such an inquest will ordinarily result into either a closure of the file or a prosecution of anybody found culpable. Otherwise, from where you stand, you have no capacity to give evidence on how a gun discharged a bullet.
Yeah, I was just, on the same, Honorable Speaker, I think I was very clear that the ballistics section of the DCI and the forensic laboratory are still doing the forensic analysis. And once the analysis is completed, the inquiry file will be forwarded to the DPP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jerry. We'll leave it there. Marian Kaitang, Social Protection Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is a response to a statement sought by the Honorable Member for Aldai constituency, Honorable Marian Kaitan, MP, who has sought response regarding disbursement of the Women Enterprise Fund. In her statement, Honorable Speaker, the questions raised by her were two. First, what is the rationale behind reducing the borrowing, especially considering the fund expanded resources and the fact that it is specifically targets women groups? And second, what measures are being put in place to ensure that the Women Enterprise Fund remain an effective tool for supporting Women Enterprise Fund? Honorable Speaker, I wish to respond like this. The fund introduced digital loan and saving product on the 1st of July 2023. The product targets a group of 10 to 30 women. The loan is offered through a digital platform by dialing a *254 hash. Upon compliance, then the term and condition, the turn around time is instant. The group can access the WEF group through two processes. One, you dial USSD *254 hash, select Women Enterprise Fund, and two, M-Pesa application, Grow tab, select Financial Inclusion, Mini App, under Development. $901,000 to 18,955 women group with shillings 257,464,445 being repaid as of 31st May 2024. Only first cycle of 50,000 was activated for the pilot phase to allow the fund to monitor the trend to inform rollout of the rest of the borrowing amount. From the trend, the loan demand under the digital is many times higher than the manual model, as evidenced by the near shillings trending. This implies that with bigger loan limit, only a few groups will benefit and the resources are depleted. But introducing them will not enhance funding to the fund to sustain cash flow and continue service to the Women Enterprise Fund. Question number 2 was, what measures are being put in place to ensure that WEF remain an effective tool for supporting Women Enterprise Fund? The fund is implementing several measures, key among them, improving financial sustainability. Financial sustainability is crucial for any organization to continue offering services to its clients. To achieve sustainability, the fund seeks to grow its value from 10 billion by ensuring efficient management of operation costs. 2, improving accessibility to loan by all women enterprises to ensure an inclusive financial landscape, fundamental to this area initiative that enables inclusion of women in the financial services. The fund aims to expand financial access for 5 million Women Enterprise Fund in all parts of the country, riding on digital platform.
Moreover, the fund aims at diversifying the product and services to serve a wider market. 3, enhancing financial and entrepreneurial skills for Women Enterprise Fund. One of expansion and enhances profitability, productivity, and competitive advantage. The fund will enhance capacity for 515,000 Women Enterprise Fund and entrepreneurship, financial literacy, value addition, AGPO, and business counseling. The fund channel out different training services at various platforms. And 4, improving market access for women enterprise. 500 women entrepreneurs through linkages, market facilitation, and decent workplace to support the women to achieve their market goals. The call to these measures, Honorable Speaker, are financial sustainability driven by high disbursement volumes and introduction of modest interest rate at 6% per annum, reducing balance. Operation efficiency propelled by digitization and digitalization, enhancing resources, improved productivity, and prudent financial management. Honorable Speaker, digitization is the process of converting analog data into digital form, where digitalization is the use of digital technologies to change a business. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. That is the response for Honorable Marianne Keitan.
Very well. Is the Honorable Marianne Keitan in the house? Yes, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have listened to the response from the chair of the committee, and I must say that I'm totally dissatisfied by the response for 3 reasons, Chair. One is that I raised an issue about the rationale behind the reduction of the borrowing limits. And if we look at the Women Enterprise Fund, it was started in 2007. From the year 2007, Mr. Speaker, to last year, when this rationale was changed, the issue of limits was not an issue. And I don't know why they decided to reduce or to bring out the method in which they are now giving out these funds. And they've gone digital. Much as I appreciate going digital, and much as we appreciate that we are now digital in nature, the issue we are talking about is about women. And I think the objects of why the Women Enterprise Fund was created need not be lost in the process of disbursing money. It was not just about money. Usually women meet, they talk about many other things, including even their own social affairs, as much as also they encourage each other to do business. And then after that, they can now disburse money. And the next time they meet, they look at how far have we gone with the monies we borrowed. But if we go digital and the way they have done the process of borrowing this money without considering the real objects of why a Women Enterprise Fund was created, then we lose the real object of this fund. It is not any different with a group or an individual going to a bank and borrowing money. The reason for our Women Enterprise Fund was more social in nature as opposed to the actual funding. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I'm totally dissatisfied with the responses they have given, and I would wish that perhaps this matter be taken further by the chair of the departmental committee, and even more, maybe the CS, so that we really understand, did they lose the object? Did we forget about why this enterprise fund was created in 2007 under legal notice number 127, or what happened? What changed? And if there was any change, none of those changes as to the objects have come to this National Assembly for ratification. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I've heard what my good friend Marianne Keitan has said. Honorable Speaker, as we speak today, we don't have a cabinet secretary in that ministry, but I can organize as a committee for a sitting with the principal secretary so that we can eye on this matter once and for once and for all, because I can also say, as much as I'm reading this statement, even myself, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it, Honorable Speaker, because I also witnessed when the checks used to be given to women, they would borrow up to 1 million Kenya shillings, and they will repay back. But from what I have read, because this was the answer from the ministry, they can only give loans to up to 50,000. So we took the women backward. Rather than progressive, we just took them backward. So what I can say, we can have a sitting with the principal secretary so that we can go through this and we see whether it is achieving the intended purpose. Before, the women will borrow more than 500,000 headed to 1 million Kenya shillings. But right now, the amount, and even as they borrow, it goes through
What's your
digitally.
order, Honorable Chair? What's your point of order, Leader?
Honorable Speaker, it's very unfortunate that a chair of a committee, especially on the government side, the Honorable Chair, who I have a lot of respect for, to actually request this House to expunge that report so that we get the right report. I think that will be the best procedure, other than to hold on to a report on record which you don't believe in, which you think is erroneous, and still give it to the member. So I would like to request the Honorable Chair, please withdraw the statement, expunge it from the record, and say that you will bring another one another time, other than the way we are going.
Majority Leader, it's not fair. A statement being read from the government by a chairman of whatever committee, and you say before us, and the whole nation is actually seeing and listening to what you are saying. We are the representative of the people. To say that, you are not sure and you have no confidence in what you are reading, assures me, she must distract that one from the record. It's not fair. It is not right. Very well, we have heard you. Let me hear Honorable Undo. He was early.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Speaker, the last 2 weeks has been the weeks of telling the truth, and nothing else but the truth. To be honest, we are also experiencing the same challenges in our constituencies concerning Women Enterprise Fund. And the response the chair has given has been underwhelming and probably off the mark completely, oblivious of the challenges that we are facing. And one of the absurdity we have in the current dispensation, where chairs are given written statements, they are obliged to come and read them here. And honestly speak, as much as want to interrogate the chair on the veracity or others of the statement, you are basically flogging a dead horse. Honorable Speaker, what I would suggest, as she has pointed out, why can they invite the honorable member who asked the question to the committee where the permanent secretary can appear so that there can be intense interrogation? Because honestly speaking, also even if I was the one, I would not have read the statement, and even if I had told to read the statement, I would have clearly told I don't even believe in the statement. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Lastly, Dr. Nyikal, let's hear you on this.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes I feel very bad. Things that were working are not working. I didn't get the question, but I've got the drift. Let me tell you what happened. Let the truth be told. The Women Enterprise Fund, when it was started, I actually was there at a very critical moment. It was to start, it was run in two ways. One was to be given to groups that were actually formed by then the Ministry of Gender and Social Services and registered by the Ministry of Social Services. It was actually middle people like banks who would then give it to individual women who wanted large amounts of money. With time, it turned out that the money that were given to banks and even cooperative organizations to be given to women, the interest was supposed to be 8%. But what the banks were doing, they were money because they didn't want the women to benefit from the 8%. So that actually slowed down almost to a stop. The one for the women group actually flourished. The problem came this time when there was a decision that the system should be digitized. And Mr. Speaker, when they digitized, the digitization process was hurried. It was supposed to be a presidential order. So they digitized so quickly, so the women groups were formed digitally. The applications were digital. The disbursement was digital. They actually digitized, they actually disbursed a lot of money very quickly. I think almost $1 billion. When it came to repayment, what was realized that the repayment dropped from 86% when they were doing things manually to 26%. And then they went out to find out what had happened. What they found out was the groups were merely digital. They didn't exist. And that is why nobody was paying. So that, and therefore they were losing money. So they actually stopped. So the women are not actually, have not been getting money. We were told that now they have restarted, but from what we are getting from members, it has not started. So basically it was a hurried process that caused problems, and therefore they stopped. But I do not know whether they have actually now corrected it so that the women can go back and get money. Mr. Speaker, this has been a fund that was very popular with women. You get one, the first time, if you get 100,000, the second time 200,000 if you pay the thing. By the time actually we stop their women, it is the hurried digitization that caused the problem.
Very
Let's
well,
face
Daktari, you have made your point and quite clear.
The truth, it is what is killing Shah also. We are not telling the truth.
Oh, the Daktari, you have made your point. But I can see the leader still has an interest in this. What is it, leader?
You know, Honorable Speaker, I believe that it is, I don't want to use the word I want to use, but it is not correct for us to discuss a statement which has been disowned by the presenter of the statement. You know, we are discussing a statement which the presenter has said, I don't believe in this statement.
Order.
So we are
Order,
debating
leader.
an erroneous statement.
Order.
Honorable Speaker, the honorable thing is that the statement be withdrawn.
Order, leader.
Then after that, we can debate.
We heard you, and courtesy of your earlier session, we gave a few members just to weigh in on that. I want to hear the chair, before then we can proceed with any ruling. But before we hear the chair, Millie, what is it?
Chair, really from a procedural perspective, I think what has just happened is a bit interesting. And I think because we were with you in the House business earlier, you remember I was willing to move Honorable Kaluma's amendments that I disagree with on my bill. And the Speaker said we can't do that. In the same light, if a chair does not believe in what the minister is bringing, why would the chair bring it here? And the chair, other than that, so really maybe you need to, the Speaker may need to give guidance on that, where we don't agree with what the minister is bringing, because our role is also oversight. We are not just a conduit. So if a chair does not agree, don't bring it here. But chair, the other thing that I need to ask us as a country to introspect, I don't know whether we are bewitched or what's wrong with us, that everything that is working, we work very hard to destroy. The Women's Enterprise Fund was working well, we are working hard to destroy. NGCDF is one of the best funds in this country, especially in marginalized communities, rural communities. The first time I visited my rural home and saw a nice school was courtesy of NGCDF. Now the younger people don't realize it. because they didn't see what the difference was. Mr. Speaker, why are we destroying the things that people come from other countries to emulate in Kenya? We are busy destroying and coming with other things that are not working. Can we rethink about such issues?
Very well, let's hear the chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I noticed the shortcoming, but I also want to tell the Deputy Majority Leader, I don't want to withdraw because my work as a chair is to transmit what comes from the ministry to the response of the honorable member. This is not a committee report that we interrogated, that when I come here, I cannot disown. Even me, when I read this statement, and I have said here that I'm going to invite the principal secretary and honorable member in the committee so that we can discuss this issue. But it is not fair and it is not in order for the deputy majority leader to tell me to withdraw because I'm a chair. I'm not the one who wrote this report. This report came from the ministry, and if it is not right, I cannot stand here to say it is right because it came from the ministry. And I don't also agree with it. I'm only reading what was transmitted to me. I'm only transmitting what chairs do from the ministry. But this is not a document that came from our committee.
Well, I think we have heard from the chair, and I think we don't need to have more bites on this. Honorable members, the chair has come out clearly that he is also a member of parliament. And his main role is also to oversight. Indeed, you see that she could not commit herself on an issue she did not believe in. This challenge came to this House when we changed our own standing orders, so that the chairs are actually reading statements on behalf of CSS. I would then rule that what happens is that that particular matter be taken to that committee, invite the CS involved and the PS, invite the member who has asked the question, and have a candid discussion. If that will not work, proceed and move that question so that the particular CS is invited to this House to deal with that specific matter, which is of concern to not only all the members of parliament who are here, but to the many women who are very effectively using the Women Fund. And I think we can raise that matter there. Let's hear another response of a statement by the Honorable Wanjiku Muya. Do we have the Chair Transport and Infrastructure in the House? The Chair, yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I would like to, on behalf of the Chair of the Transport Committee, the Honorable G.K. Kariuki, would like to respond to the statement by Honorable Wanjiku Muya. Honorable Speaker, on Thursday, 17th October 2024, the member for Kipipiri, the Honorable Wanjiku Muya, CBS MP, requested for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding unmarked bumps along the flyover Njabini, Kipipiri, Olkalau, Nyahururu Road. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the Honorable Wanjiku Muya, actions be taken for the provision of proper signage and reflective markers along the flyover of Njabini, Kipipiri, Olkalau, Nyahururu Road, and a report on the exact timeline for marking the bumps and placing signage along the said road. Honorable Speaker, the committee received a response from the Ministry of Roads and now to make. Honorable Speaker, with regards to plans to ensure that all bumps erected along the flyover Njambini, Kipipiri, Olkalau, Nyahururu Road are clearly marked and proper signages provided, I wish to state that all bumps on the road section of Magumu Njabini B110 road have already been marked and proper signages have already been installed. Furthermore, the section from Njabini to Olkalau B20 road is currently under the newly awarded maintenance contracts. The ministry has already identified a number of illegal bumps along the road and shall by mid-November address the unmarked bumps alongside removal of the illegal ones. Honorable Speaker, the section between Olkalau to Nyahururu A4 road has recently undergone surface dressing as part of the ongoing maintenance works scoped for the road. These works have been completed and the contractor is now in the process of marking the road, including all the speed bumps. Honorable Speaker, regarding the actions being taken for the provision of proper signage and reflective markers along, Honorable Speaker, the hybrid contract allows the contractor to maintain and replace any vandalized signages. Signages on the road section between Jambini and Olkalau, that's the B20 road, and between the Olkalau and Naururu road, that is the A4 road, are currently under installation and are expected to be completed by the end of November 2024. Honorable Speaker, concerning the report on the exact timelines for the marking, the bumps and placing signages along the said road, I would like to submit that all the outstanding works, marking of bumps and placing of the signage, will be completed by the end.
Confirming that over the weekend, I traveled through that road, and it's true. The bumps that were very risky have been marked well. The signage has been put very well. But Honorable Speaker, on that statement, I didn't only mean the bumps that were being repaired. I meant all the bumps. So they have left two unpainted, which are very risky. And since the committee have reported that they will complete on 30th of November, I expect the two to be among the others. But they have left a very critical area called Giret, which was the source of my statement because it has killed so many people. There is no bump, it has not been replaced, no signage, nothing has been marked. I also want to seek the intervention of the committee that by the end of that November, if they can consider that place, and I'm sure the residents of Jandarua will really be happy. Once more, I thank the committee.
Very well, this is a positive one, Chair.
We shall engage the ministry and we will request them to facilitate the same. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Now, the Honorable Adu, is it the Honorable Adu in the House? The Honorable Adu? Okay. Then let's proceed. There was a general statement by the Honorable Njeri Maina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Zahir was trying to distract me, but I'm very focused on representing the Kenyan people and the people of Kirinyaga County. Honorable Speaker, I rise to issue a general statement regarding the rampant...
Yes, order, Honorable Kaji. What's your point of order? Order, Honorable Zahir. Completely out of order. Yes. Go back, go all the way, and have respect for the House. And then come back. And thank you, honorable members, for having noticed that. This is a house of order. Come all the way. Very well, you may proceed, Honorable Njeri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to issue a general statement regarding the rampant abductions and enforced disappearances of Kenyan youth in the country. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Orders 43.1, I wish to make a general statement regarding the rampant abductions and enforced disappearance of Kenyan youth in the recent past. Honorable Speaker, the Kenyan Constitution recognizes human rights as inherent and inviolable. However, and over 71 cases of enforced disappearances. This includes a tragic incident during the protest on 25th June 2024, which resulted in several deaths and the abduction of at least 72 individuals. These incidences violate Article 26 of the Constitution on the right to life. Honorable Speaker, government agencies such as the Independent Police Oversight Authority, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, and the Inspector General of Police are tasked with preventing these injustices, but have been alarmingly slow to respond. These arbitrary arrests have also attracted the issues of enforced disappearances. The trend continues, threatening the stability of Kenya's democracy and the well-being of future generations. Urgent institutional reforms are necessary to ensure that the criminal justice system is responsive and adheres to the set constitutional parameters. As a signatory to the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance, I urge that Kenya ratifies this convention in compliance with Article 26 of the Constitution to strengthen the national framework aimed at ending these inhumane practices. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
What's your point of order, Honorable Millie? Honorable Millie is not a point of order. Honorable Millie, what's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm not too sure under what she read it, but I think I could raise an issue in relation to that, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, about that statement. And also just want to say, I know the honorable member is trying to distract her, but this is not the time for men to see young, beautiful women. You can see afterwards. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to inform Honorable Njeri that you are doing extremely well. Keep up on that path. You are doing well. You are a very young, visionary woman. You do very well. You are doing very well. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, this is an issue that is beyond, all members of parliament of goodwill should be concerned. Mr. Speaker, I've been concerned when I see the number of messages that you keep seeing of missing persons. Mr. Speaker, I do not know what is going on. I don't want to ascribe blame or whatever, but I think the government needs to take this seriously. There are very many missing persons, and I don't know what's going on. Every single day, I'm sharing, there are some which are young children that are eventually found, but there are adults that are missing, and we don't know what's happening that this is going on. And we need to, even if it means forming a commission of inquiry or whatever we need to do, there is a problem. There are enough people who are disappearing in this country, and we need to pay attention and take action.
Of course, this doesn't require discussion, but let me hear from the chair of Blue Economy, very briefly. This generally does not require us to go into debate because members, you have a chance to even bring a motion of adjournment. So let's
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate the Honorable Njeri for bringing that issue. And Honorable Speaker, besides what the Honorable Njeri have just raised on the issues of abductions in the country, Mr. Speaker, we need to look, and this should go into the Ministry of Interior, that we need to look into the security of this country. Mr. Speaker, some few weeks ago, an individual who is not even a Kenyan, but he acquired a Kenyan citizen, and we are yet to know how he acquired, at an alarming stage. We need to look, even as we address this issue of abductions in the country, Mr. Speaker, we need to look at the general issues of security in the country, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Leader, what's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, this was a general statement, but I hear a lot of reference to abductions. Even the member on the floor, the chair of our Water and Irrigation Committee is speaking about abductions. But from what I hear, the examples he's giving is the work of criminal elements, like the person is speaking about, and those are issues I thought the member and all of us should, even as we express our concerns on the rates of crime in the country, that we must be careful and cautious that we do not use the floor of this House to admonish our security agencies, not even to recognize the good work. For instance, it took these things as abductions. I know it is politically expedient and very good for the public gallery to be speaking about abductions. And there's a trend, Honorable Speaker, I must say so, that today in this country, even people who are legitimately arrested by policemen are booked into police cells, known police cells, are produced before courts of law. Those are being described as abductions. Probably we should even only in Nairobi, he's also married to another man in Narok. The husband in Nairobi reports that the wife has been abducted. So I don't know whether that was an abduction or is a case of people stealing other people's wives. Now tomorrow, if the Honorable Bowen moves to Marakwet East with my wife, will I report my wife as having been abducted? Or do I say I've been unable to do certain things that the Honorable Bowen has managed to do? I mean, Honorable Speaker, I was only pointing out to say that we must be careful as leaders because we have a national platform. The adjectives we use to describe incidences. When a murderer murders people, that is a murderer. When someone is abducted by criminals and the police apprehend, at least let us have also the decency to congratulate, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate DCI Amin and his team of security officers in the operations department, because they have moved with speed. When the Kware killings were happening, Honorable Speaker, it took them less than a week to apprehend the suspect. But it took the police a very short time, the Kenya police, to allow that suspect to escape from lawful custody, Honorable Speaker. Those are the issues I would expect that as leaders we should be addressing. Commend our officers when they do well, encourage them to do better, to apprehend suspects, but also avoid the temptation to brand every other criminal activity as an abduction. And I know there are also elements among us who want to make all these things look like they're abductions by the police. Missing persons, I appreciate what Millie Odhiambo has said. So I just wanted to encourage Honorable.
Give maybe one more comment here and one more here, and then we proceed because it's not a substantive motion.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I said, and I want to be clear, I said even as our security officers addresses the issues of abductions in the country, how comes that it took almost 2 days before you get someone who, that Ethiopian guy who killed 4 women, it took less than 2 days, Mr. Speaker, to be apprehended and arrested. But in Kerio Valley, where we have insecurities, it has taken ages. There is no criminal, there are no bandits which has been arraigned in court. Why is it that the government is not addressing that issue like the way it's addressing these issues of abduction?
Very well. Let's hear from the Honorable Fatma. Yes, Honorable Fatma.
Loved ones. And I tell them but I am coming to this house again that we are still missing an MCA for 2.5 months. We have called the former Interior Minister, the recent, and the IG and many and the DCI, and we are yet to find the MCA. As we bring out this statement, Mr. Speaker, we also need to talk to the security agencies that some of these things need to have a closure. Yes.
Very well. Chair Agriculture, we shall bring you in.
Yes.
Very well. Chair Agriculture, we shall bring you in. Later, Chile.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to this. How many people have actually, we should not just be making blanket recommendations and statements for the sake of a political expediency. We need to be very, from Northeasterners, I just said that somebody got lost 2 years ago, and verify data to say that this is data backing my statement.
Very well.
Thank
the
you,
Honorable Farah, 1 minute, and then we finish with Tongoyo, who is the chair. It's not a motion.
Honorable Speaker, I'll also join my other colleagues to commend the DCI who did some horrendous things like the Kware and the Slim others. Mr. Speaker, there is no statute of limitation on crime. What I know myself, from 2014 until 2022, in excess of 1,200 Kenyans disappeared. And many of them just before there was a change of guard between the previous government of Uhuru and this government, their bodies stand up in Yala River and many other places. Mr. Speaker, I have personally cannot account for 8 relatives, some of them business people who nobody knows where they are. So there is need for us to go back all the way to 2014 and then create a kind of a commission of inquiry to ask the members of the families of anybody who is missing to come forth so that we can see whether we can put a closure to a lot of these things that have happened over the years. I'm not just focusing on what happened in the last couple of months. I know there are people who are obsessed with what happened in the last couple of months. I regret the way they happened. I want to assure the relatives of those families that we feel their pain, but let's go back to 2014 until today so that we have a way to deal with this and have a closure to all those people who have disappeared. Thank you, Mr.
Very well.
Speaker.
1 minute before chair. 1 minute. Give honorable member 1 minute. Yes, the honorable member on the floor already.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi nasimama kumuunga mkono Mheshimiwa Njeri juu ya hii, na mengi sana amesemwa hapa. Kama tukisikia Mheshimiwa Farah Maalim, watu 8 si watu kidogo katika familia moja, na watu wengi sana ambao wameweza kupotea. Serikali lazima ishughulikie mambo haya kwa sababu ni jukumu la serikali kutoa ulinzi kwa watu wake. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, nilivyosikia kwa makini sana, hivi sasa vile hatuna waziri wa usalama. Alivyoeleza Mheshimiwa
Security.
And, okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I appreciate the big concern raised by Action and actually with the IG and the entire security internal tape about all all the alleged missing persons. And Honorable Speaker, we should be able to appreciate. We should not just be quickly to really quickly to accuse when probably something wrong happened, but forget to appreciate when our security officers does a exemplary good job. Honorable Speaker, of the listed persons who has been listed to have been missing, Honorable Speaker, the IG confirmed that they were able to recover more than 85% alive of these persons. So, Honorable Speaker, I was so much shocked even by the statement of Bowen here. When the Kenya Kwanza government took over, the issue of insecurity in the Kerio Valley, specifically even in his own area, was extremely so alarming. For the last 5 months, we had an extremely relative peace and calm in that area, even including the Tiati and Baringo. So, Honorable Speaker, what am I saying? I'm saying as much as we really feel the pain of Kenyans who possibly lost their loved one, we should be able to differentiate the issue of abduction and arrest. Those are different things. Actually, just also learning to practice opposition politics and taking the floor of this house for populist.
Chair, you didn't need to go that direction.
No, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Speaker.
Chair.
Okay, fine, I'm finishing.
There's a point
Let
of
me
order.
finish.
Take your place. Give Honorable Njeri the microphone. I think she's revving to go.
Honorable Speaker, it is very insulting for the Honorable Member. His response, the abductions and missing persons in this nation and reduce them to opposition politics.
Very well, we have heard you. Give him the microphone and 1 minute.
Honorable Speaker, I want to be on record, Honorable Speaker, that we should be able also to appreciate the good work done by our security officers. not just seeing when they do, because when the issue of Willis Vago, when it happened in Kisumu, I think Kisumu or Homa Bay, it took hardly 24 hours before the security officers apprehended the victims. When the issue of Isili did happen, they were so swift and able to apprehend the victim, the suspect, honorable. We should be able to differentiate.
And we bring that matter to arrest. However, members, you really have a chance of bringing even a motion of adjournment, because this is a matter that I know is interesting every member, and we can have a whole hour or even more to speak on this. So, next order.
Order number 11, the County Government's Revenue Raising Process Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2023, second reading.
Majority Leader, on order number 11.
Where's my order paper? All the national government and the county governments on imposition of tax. And on one hand, Honorable Speaker, members are aware that the taxes like the income tax on Kenyans and other people who may be doing business or working in the country. The same article, Honorable Speaker, goes further to define the role of our county governments in terms of the kind of taxes that they may impose, such as property taxes, entertainment taxes, and other taxes that may be authorized to be imposed by county governments through an act of parliament. And these taxes, as imposed by the county government, must be done in a way that they do not jeopardize the national interest of a country. And indeed, Honorable Speaker, if you read Article 209(5) of our Constitution, it introduced that very important safeguard in light of taxation imposed by both levels of government, and answers a number of questions in relation to the imposition of taxes between the two levels of government. And some of the questions that Article 209, sub-Article 5 answers are, one, could there be instances where, for instance, there might be a clash between or a disruption in the opposition of taxes between the two levels of government? And it is true that there could be instances where there is a clash on the imposition of taxes by the two levels of government. Two, how then do we secure our national interests so that a county does not jeopardize the entire country's greater interests in an attempt or in the endeavor to impose tax at the county level? Three, Honorable Speaker, the same article answers the question on how do we secure movement of goods, services, capital, labor within and across the counties within the sphere of the national space for trade without inhibiting international protocols and agreements intended to ease regional trade. And for instance, Honorable Speaker, this afternoon we are discussing the issue of enhancing, deepening, and tightening our regional integration. And part of the work in deepening and tightening our regional integration is issues around trade. And it could be possible, Honorable Speaker, that, for instance, the county government of Kajiado that neighbors our neighboring country of Tanzania, or maybe the county government of Busia, imposes certain taxes that may inhibit either the movement of goods and services from a neighboring country within our regional bloc, trading bloc, or even inhibit trade. For instance, the city of Nairobi, the county government of Nairobi may impose taxes that inhibit the movement of goods or even labor and services between a county like Mombasa and a county as productive as the county of Nandi, Machakos, Makueni, Taita Taveta, before it gets to Mombasa for shipment, for them to get value, real value out of their tea. And the word is shall, not may. Shall, not may. Mandatory shall not be exercised in a way that prejudices national economic policies, economic activities across county boundaries, or the national mobility of goods, services, capital, or labor. And that is what, Honorable Speaker, I've just paraphrased in saying it is both national, regional, and even international mobility of both goods, services, capital, or even labor. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, it is in this background that this bill gives effect to the constitutional requirement of Article 209(5) of our Constitution by defining the manner in which the national government...
Leader, for just the records, that is Article 209.
Yes, 209 sub Article 5. Sorry, I'm
very well
confusing 209(5) with 205(9). 209(5). And I was saying, Honorable Speaker, by defining the manner in which the national government... The bill further establishes a process whereby the county governments may exercise their taxation authority. Honorable Speaker, in the national government or through the national treasury, exercising its policy oversight role is basically bringing into effect or giving life to the provisions of that article of our Constitution that the national treasury has a duty and a mandate to ensure that not a single county government in the imposition of either a tax, a levy, or even miscellaneous fees will be imposed in a way that it jeopardizes the greater national policy oversight role, which is what we are giving life to through this bill. Honorable Speaker, the specific taxes that a county government may enact. As I have already pointed out, Article 209 of the Constitution is clear in terms of what taxes a county government may impose and what taxes the national government may impose. And therefore, this bill is not in any way trying to set the specific taxes that may be imposed by the county governments. And I think that is important because there were concerns that were raised that maybe the national government intends to impose certain levels of taxes that will be set by our county governments. That is already provided for in the Constitution. As I said in exercising that oversight role, Honorable Speaker, that I mentioned, county governments also do not jeopardize our national interests, or indeed those other regional interests, because we are in the era of integration and regional integration, and it is possible, as I was using the case examples of the counties that border our regional neighbors, they may impose charges. For instance, as I said, people in Loitoktok who are importing tomatoes or onions from Tanzania, the county government of Kajiado, for instance, and I'm only using Kajiado as an example, may impose charges on onions or tomatoes coming from our neighboring country and jeopardize that greater interest in having regional integration, because there's a lot of mobility of both labor, capital, and goods also from this country to our neighboring countries, and therefore must be able to safeguard all that. Honorable Speaker, if you look at clause 2 of the bill, it provides for the definition of words that are used or expressions used in the bill in technical sense, and therefore members need not get confused as to the provisions of certain definitions as are used in the bill. In the old national treasury could even waive taxes or levies or licensing fees. But under the new constitution, even the cabinet secretary lost that power. Indeed, it is only this house that has powers to waive or even impose taxes. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, clause 5 of this bill has those provisions that relate to waivers and variations. Again, to guard against abuse of fees and penalties and interest, Honorable Speaker. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, you find in one of the bills, without anticipating debate, Honorable Speaker, for a first time last week, Honorable Speaker, as a particular provision that you can even waive penalties or even interest for the public. And indeed, I look forward, Honorable Speaker, to the second reading of that tax procedures bill when it comes up for debate. Because I know there are many, many Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, especially members of the public who did business with many of our county governments across the country, who are owed hundreds, in fact not hundreds, billions, tens of billions of shillings owed to business people across the country who cannot be paid, but KRA is on their necks. demanding taxes, imposing penalties and interest on what they are owed simply because they invoiced, and when they invoiced, they were supposed to pay taxes against those invoices, but those invoices are yet to be settled by government agencies or even the county governments, and therefore KRA continues to impose penalties over penalties, and it is those people, Honorable Speaker, that we seek to help through, as I said, Honorable Speaker, some of the... Honorable Speaker, just trying to move quickly, Honorable Speaker, Clause 8 of the bill contains very critical provisions also for establishment and composition of the interagency for the purpose of reviewing all fees and charges, acting such legislation that would create this process that we are seeking to create in regulating how we impose taxes at both levels of government. It may happen, Honorable Speaker, as I was giving examples, that already there are county governments across the country that may have imposed certain levies, fees, taxes that may jeopardize our national interest. We are saying that we will create an interagency transitional committee that will be appointed by the Cabinet Secretary, and we have represented, including the Intergovernmental Technical Relations Committee, to be able to review all those that had been done before to make sure that they align with the greater national goals and interests. Honorable Speaker, in summary, let me not belabor this point because this is a very self-explanatory bill. In summary, this bill is very important, and I want to urge all members to support it. I know it's a bill that concerns our county governments, and therefore it will be going to the other house. And I do expect that in the interest, the greater interest of both our counties and our national government, that even when this bill finds its way to the other house, they will be able to pass it so that we create that complementary role of the two levels of government, not only to impose taxes, but also to ensure that the taxes that are imposed at the national government level are not duplicated at the local level through imposition of taxes, levies, and fees by our county governments. Equally, Honorable Speaker, that if there are certain fees, levies, licenses that are being imposed at the local level, at the county level by our county governments, they are not duplicated when we pass our tax laws and elements of double taxation. Honorable Speaker, as I said, in conclusion, this bill gives effect to Article 209(5) of our Constitution to ensure that the taxation and other revenue powers of a county shall not be exercised in a way that prejudices national economic policies, the economic activities across our region, that may limit how even people move. And you may find in some counties you lack laborers who may do certain chores, Honorable Speaker, that probably because of cultural reasons, people from one county are not able to do, but they may be able to, through labor mobility, to move people from other counties. But you may find counties imposing restrictions on how even people move. Therefore, we want to ensure that there is national mobility of labor, capital, because for all our counties to be able to prosper and grow, there must be mobility of capital, there must be mobility of goods and services, and also labor, Honorable Speaker. And that is why those of us who never believed in the politics of dividing our country, be it along regional, ethnic, or even our county boundaries, Honorable Speaker, the people of Kericho need the people of Kilifi probably to move their capital from the coast to go and invest in Kericho and grow food that can get back to feed their own people in Kilifi. And it is these issues that we are speaking to in this bill, Honorable Speaker, that we grow our country by allowing free mobility of both goods and services, capital and labor. That Kenyans from across all the corners of our country feel free to go and invest anywhere. Honorable Speaker, my last visit to Honorable Bensouda's county in Homa Bay, I was impressed by the beautiful beaches along the shores of Lake Victoria, even fishing. But I noticed there is a deficiency in tourist resorts along the beaches of Lake Victoria. And I imagined if these were the days when I had some money, I would have been a very good close friend of Honorable Bensouda to make sure she's able to give me part of her assets near the lake to invest in tourist class holiday resorts. Honorable Speaker, Governor Gladys Wanga, after the investment conference in Homa Bay County, and these two gracious and great ladies from Homa Bay County, these gracious ladies, Honorable Speaker, in Homa Bay County are doing great things. Governor Gladys Wanga, besides growing her own source revenue, Governor Wanga is a former chair of the Finance and Planning Committee. And also a former women rep in Homa Bay County. But because of her experience in the National Assembly, especially in a period of less than 2 years, Honorable Speaker, and I must take this opportunity to commend Governor Wanga, because she's not only raising own source revenue in a way that jeopardizes our national interest, capital mobility out of great and gracious members of parliament from Homa Bay County, because I was also impressed that the leaders in Homa Bay, and I saw the kind of cooperation that they exhibited during the Homa Bay Investors Conference that we all attended and was televised across the country, for other governors to see and learn that when you work with members of parliament, when you are voted for you as a governor, I know there are those who are interested in running for county government seats. Honorable Speaker, myself, I have any county government seat. Therefore, my governor can rest assured that I will never run. But please, don't fear. I know our governor fears the member for Thika, because she portends the potential to be another Gladys Wanga in Kiambu. But I have at my party chair, county government revenue raising process bill, that they may use it to encourage not just the cooperation of other leaders, but the cooperation of their neighboring counties and other counties. I look forward to the day, Honorable Speaker, in this country, the governor of Wajir, the governor of Marsabit will be working with the governor of Kiambu, the governor for Nyeri, the governor for Kericho, to make sure that those things that are not available in their counties, they are able to exchange, and there is that free mobility of labor, of capital, so that even those of us who come from crowded counties like Kiambu and Kisii, and Nyamira, for instance, where Honorable Irene Mayaka comes from, that the people of Nyamira, the people of Kiambu will feel free to go and invest in Marsabit, to go and invest in Turkana County or Wajir. And indeed, the people of Wajir, and I must commend our brothers and sisters from the far north, they're investing all over across the country. That is the kind of country we all yearn for. And I want to pray that with this, the enactment of this bill, with your support, honorable members, and with the support of honorable senators, we shall be able to create better revenue-raising measures for our county governments, revenue-raising measures that don't jeopardize our national interests, that encourage not just inter-county trade and inter-county mobility of both capital and labor, but also promote business, promote trade, and promote the prosperity of all our counties and our nation at large. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move, and I want to request my very able deputy. And Honorable Speaker, when I say my very able deputy, the Honorable Member for Kilifi North, the Honorable Owen Bayer, I mean it, my very able deputy, a deputy who cannot even be impeached.
Very well.
Because he's very able. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move.
Honorable Watch, just for the record, I know you are first on the list here, but Majority Leader was within his time. And possibly he has just demonstrated how a bill should be moved. Not a situation whereby you have a bill and you just do it in 2 statements and you sit down. Proceed, Deputy Majority.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you, and From the onset, I second this bill. Honorable Speaker, the first thing I want to say is this is very on time bill. Because, Honorable Speaker, this bill gives effect to the constitutional article number 209(5). And this article, Honorable Speaker, defines the manner in which the national government, through the National Treasury, may exercise its policy oversight role. Policy oversight role. And it establishes the processes where the county governments may exercise their taxation authority. You know, there has been this idea that, national government may not oversight county governments. It is only the Senate that can do that. But when it comes to money matters, the money bill, the National Assembly has the power to exercise oversight authority. And the policy, Honorable Speaker, actually defines that the national government, the National Assembly actually has an oversight role in terms of policy on revenue-raising measures, and it establishes the process whereby the county governments may exercise taxation, because taxation is a money matter, and money matters have their residence in this house. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, this bill further regulates the exercises by county governments of their power to impose taxes, levies, and duties. If you look at this bill, Honorable Speaker, it does that. It regulates the exercise. They have power to impose taxes, revenues, levies. County governments have power to do that. But then as a house, this National Assembly, Honorable Speaker, can regulate the exercise, and it has power to do that. Honorable Speaker, why am I saying this is a very important bill? This is a very important bill, and I'll give you a very good example, Honorable Speaker and members. There's a time the President chaired the Port Users Association meeting in Mombasa Port. Port users, all those people that use the ports in Mombasa. And I had the privilege, Honorable Speaker, to be in that meeting. And I think Honorable Badi was in that meeting. And I think Honorable Ichungwa too was in that meeting. So when it is leaving, Mombasa County will charge a levy. When it gets to Taita, Taita County will charge a levy. When you get to Kajiado will charge a levy. By the time it is crossing in Uganda, the trader has lost no regulation on how to do it. The housing is very important. So what happens to the price of cement in this country? The price of cement in this country goes up. When it goes up...
Or sand from Ukambani.
Yes, or sand from Ukambani. So what happens to the construction industry when we want to grow it in this country? So it makes housing very expensive for you to construct. It even increases, because of demand for loans. Then you can even see that the interest rate of a country will go up just because counties are levying high charges. But this bill, Honorable Speaker, gives us the opportunity to regulate what counties are doing. We are not stopping counties from doing it, but we are saying counties to anchor the economy of the country very well by ensuring that the levies that you are levying are very good. Honorable Speaker, I'll give you another example. Counties, Honorable Speaker, charge levies on hotels, bed occupancies in hotels. In a county is charging me this much, apart from the levies that are charged by the national government. And therefore, an investor may not want to invest in the country because of heavy levies and charges from a county. Honorable Speaker, I want you to look at land rates. Land rates, they are determined by counties. So if we impose high land rates on plots, on property, on land, or we make all properties in a county rateable, if I'm an investor, I will not want to invest in the country because, especially at the coast, because land is expensive because of the rates that are being charged. But who is regulating this to ensure that we do not make investing in this country very expensive, Honorable Speaker? And that's why this bill is important, Honorable Speaker. That's why we need to vote in this bill, pass this bill, have it assented so that we can ensure that this country grows and that counties do not inhibit the growth of counties. Honorable Speaker, I was talking about bed occupancy in hotels. A tourist comes, he's charged levies, he pays for his bed, and then he's told, here, you have to pay county rates. And the tourist says, wait a minute, supposing I went to Zanzibar, would I pay? For example, you have a county charging garbage collection for one small hotel, 25,000 a month. Garbage only, garbage, a small hotel. And it has been passed by the county assembly in their finance bill. So a small hotel is charged 25,000. That same hotel plays music. The county charges money for music. You know, noise pollution and all that, it charges that. The same county charges for trade license, called trade license. It charges trade license. Then it charges public health license. I hope you understand me, Honorable Speaker. So when you put all these levies, when you put, Erin Mayaka wants me to address her. So if you put all these levies together, it makes it very expensive for you to operate that outfit because it's not regulated. And if we must look at itself, becomes very expensive, it is not regulated. Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, this is a very important. I don't want to go into the clauses of the bill, but this bill makes it possible to harmonize taxes. It makes it possible to exercise Article 209(5) of the Constitution to ensure that we have a seamless way of taxation, both at the national government and I second it, I second, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Revenue raising process bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2023, we now read the second time.
From specific aspects of this bill, the public would be interested to know would enhance the principles of taxation and the principle of finances set out under the chapter on. First of all, is the role that it has delineated in terms of marking the delineation of the authority and jurisdictions of both the national government and the county government in respect of the duty to collect taxes. This is important because between the two levels of government, this bill therefore then puts a marker on the ground by saying that the primary, it does, this has been clearly put, Honorable Speaker and members, under Clause 4. And it puts an overall oversight caveat that the county government shall within 10 months of imposition or levying of taxes or putting proposals for collection of taxes submit to the National Treasury or the Commission, and in this case, I would like to imagine that this is the Kenya Revenue Authority, the proposals that it intends to use for collection of taxes, levies, or fees. Honorable Speaker, one important point under Clause 4 that is very, very crucial. Engage private companies to collect fees for them, fees which we do not know how, to what extent, how much, and fees of taxation must be shared equally. That as we delegate the power to collect taxes to the county government, a current county government will suffer under development arising out of taxation that everybody, without exception, is required to share the burden of. So the benefits and distribution of the county government levies and fees that are collected must percolate down to the every corner of the world. One of the key tenets of our Constitution, and especially Article 118, are these fees, to what extent, what are the impact, and what are the pitfalls that are likely to come as a result of the imposition of these fees. One other clause that I found very interesting also is a provision under Clause 5 on waiver and variations. The caveat in this is what needs to interest us. Under the collection of taxes, one of the importation of these or importation of fertilizer is the arbitrariness in which...
What's your point of order? As look like, then they are not that dangerous. Proceed, Honorable Lodge.
Honorable Speaker, I was on clause 5 on waivers and variations, and I was bringing to the attention of this House how notoriously the power to issue waivers has been misused, especially on questions of importation. This bill says that giving variations on licenses, it must indicate, one, the reasons for the variation, the economic impact of these variations, and a record must be put into place so that there is a public record what were the justifications as to why the waivers and the variation, what essentially would otherwise have been revenue that is accruing to the county government and then ending up in the pockets of rich business people, which eventually is important about this bill, is to guard against what you call the principle of double taxation. Honorable Speaker, the principle of double taxation has been defined as the levying of tax by two jurisdictions on the same income, persons, or financial transactions. This is important, Honorable Speaker, on the first point that I made, that there must be an oversight entity between the national government and the county government. The reason why we must guard against double taxation is also so that to avoid the inhibition of people who want to enter into business, whether they are people who are startup, young invest because of double taxation. Honorable Speaker, this is an otherwise good bill. The final point that I want to make is that in the laws that we have, and this then means that even the county governments, whatever it is they do in terms of variations, in terms of waivers of fees, these must find themselves into the assembly or the National Assembly so that we have an opportunity to put our stamp on authority on these before they become law. Otherwise, I support. Thank you.
The Honorable Mishi Mboko.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support this bill, the County Government Revenue Raising Process Bill 2047, Counties, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when I look at this bill on clause 5 of the bill, it outlines a clear procedure for introducing new taxes or fees, whereby it states the county needs to submit a detailed proposal to interagency committee. The interagency committee is going to be established through this bill, and it's going to have some representative from the national and the county bodies. So it means there'll be some consultation even before we make the final decisions in terms of the taxes, the fees, levies, and other charges. There'll be some consultation so that we ensure we don't jeopardize the national policies, or rather the national policies in terms of economic activities, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my point number 2, it is in terms of enhancing oversight through the interagency committee. Honorable Speaker, clause 4, I'm reading here clause 4, it says that it is going to establish interagency committee on county taxes and charges. And as I said previously, to ensure that they are fair, they are justified, and also they are in line in national economic policies, and more so in national economic activities, Honorable Speaker. By doing so, Honorable Speaker, we'll also avoid duplication in terms of taxation. In doing so, Honorable Speaker, we'll also assist Kenyans. Not, Honorable Speaker, my third point, it is on the issue of improved economic impact assessment, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this bill mandates the county government to do a thorough assessment in terms of economic impact on the issue of revenue collection and the processes, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if I look on clause 5.2e, which require counties to provide details on estimated revenue to be collected, the economic impact on individual We need to know how does it impact on the individual? How does it impact on the businesses? How does it impact on the national, in terms of the economic in the national level, Honorable Speaker? Honorable Speaker, this will also lead to informed decision-making and help to prevent the implementation of counterproductive revenue measures. We have seen some counties are putting some measures in terms of revenue collection, but at the end, the result is negative, or at the end, the result is not favorable. So it's like, and the rule of law, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, my last point, which I want to say about this bill, it is addressing current challenges in county revenue collection, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as we know that we have different challenges in our county government in terms of revenue collection, or rather raising revenue collection, or rather raising the revenue. And one is weak revenue administration structures. Do we have the correct structures? Are they following the structures? Are just there? All structures from the terms of municipality, they don't generate the income we are anticipating. So whenever we are putting a target, we need to be very optimistic that these are the targets we are putting, and again, we have the resources available which can generate this kind of income, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this...
Honorable Bernard Kitur, Nandi Hills.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, to give me the opportunity to contribute on this very important bill, on the revenue raising process bill of the county government, that the county governments must have taxes that allow for national mobility of goods, services, and capital or labor, as well as having equity across the country. Mr. Speaker, when I mentioned that this bill is timely, is because we've witnessed several times where various counties do impose levies and taxes for goods and services to Nairobi, or when you have businesses like of branding of your vehicles, when your vehicle goes from Nairobi to the next county, they are told that you are being levied, or you're being taxed, or you're being charged for having not paid for the same in the next county. So I think the time has come that is going to create harmonization of how taxes are being imposed by the county governments. Mr. Speaker, there will be no more haphazard imposition of taxes, in that when any county will want them to impose a tax, there will be a set out means. The Council of Governors and the Kenya Revenue Authority, which has been a body that has been exercising taxes for all this time, when all these agencies now will be working to make sure that any tax that any county is imposing has been harmonized, will create a level playground for this nation in terms of the taxes. I'm also impressed by the fact that we have a 2-year period in which this agency will be, this committee is given to be able to harmonize all the various counties' taxes and levies, upon which, of course, if they are not able to finish, where, of course, in number 6, where a county government may engage Kenya Revenue Authority or any other designated persons in collecting these revenues, we've witnessed surely going to cure. Mr. Speaker, I want to also mention the bit of the transitional provisions where it says within is that any of those tax passed where there have been waivers that have not been well articulated for. Sometimes it's done not on a proper policy objective manner. There will be no waivers unless done, and these are reported to the Auditor General within 3 months when these waivers have been granted. So essentially then, it will mean that any waiver that needs to be done there's a process, a procedure in which it has to be followed. Burden and benefits. So any variation going forward, any waivers that has to be done must have an equitable manner. It will not be on the whims of feelings or those in the political class. It shall be standardized. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, when I look at all this, I feel again that this is very timely bill that is going to even the tax regimes, the way the county governments will continue to impose taxes across, and business people will have a predictable environment on doing their businesses. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I support this bill.
That, Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that the mover of the bill or whoever is representing him in respect of this bill is conspicuously absent. So, Honorable Speaker, probably whatever we are talking about here is just music to our own ears. Nobody cares to listen and ensure that it's transmitted to. Honorable Speaker, I didn't know when did you become a representative of the majority party leader. Honorable Speaker, this bill raised some fundamental issues that requires to be interrogated soberly, objectively, and devoid of romantic obsession with the politics of the day. Honorable Speaker, the country in its wisdom created 2 levels of government, and in creating 2 levels of government, they made safeguards in respect to ensure that all levels of government operate independently and complementarity. Honorable Speaker, I see this bill as a mere duplication. Honorable Speaker, I see this bill as a mere duplication of the existing acts of parliament. Honorable Speaker, I want to draw to the National Assembly, to the leader, the majority party, and the people of Kenya, that, Honorable Speaker, whatever this bill purports to address or cure is already taken care of, Honorable Speaker, under the PFM Act, Public Finance Management Act. Honorable Speaker, likewise, Honorable Speaker, when you look at the provisions of the constitutions that are explicitly clear on the processes to be undertaken, to be followed in the preparation of budgets and imposing revenue collection measures. So, Honorable Speaker, this bill cures really nothing. Honorable Speaker, this year, on 28th June 2024, this Parliament, this National Assembly, passed the County Licensing Uniform Procedures Act, number 8 of 2024. It will come into operations on 29th December 2024. So whatever this bill is trying to do is already covered for. Honorable Speaker, when you go to Public Finance Management Act, Honorable Speaker, all the way from Section 132 that deals with revenue-raising measures of county government is explicitly clear on what the processes and the stages to be undertaken. So everybody, I would wonder, for what purpose is this particular bill, Honorable Speaker? Honorable Speaker, you go to Article 2093, are authorized to raise taxes in forms of property rates. Honorable Speaker, this House, the other week, last week, we passed the mediated version of the National Rating Act, or National Rating Bill, which I do believe probably by now is already accented to. So essentially, whatever it's purporting to cure here is already taken care of, Honorable Speaker, by that particular Act of Parliament. Honorable Speaker, the other areas the county governments are authorized to levy taxes or interest or anything is in the amount of entertainment taxes and others that by legislation might permit. Honorable Speaker, Procedures Act. Honorable Speaker, when you look even under this bill, there is nowhere under Article 209, Article 210 of the Constitution that requires the National Parliament or Parliament, whether National Assembly or National or Senate, will generate any other of goods and services, either in the National Treasury or any amorphous body that's being purported to be here. Neither does it reside that powers under the Commission of Revenue Allocation, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, then the most hilarious part of the bill, let me say so, Honorable Speaker, is clause 8 of the bill that purports to create something called an interagency transition committee to review the taxes, charges, and fees envisaged under Section 7